Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yesterday we had reached the point where we discussed where this young girl, her husband had accepted Islam, and she taught her husband how to make ghusl, how to perform salah, etc. When we were coming out of the masjid, one of our brothers, he mentioned to me, he said that what you say is 100% true. And I mentioned that many people had accepted Islam secretly in Johannesburg, and people didn't know about it, but only at the time of Maut it became clear that these people were mu'mineen, and these people must be buried in accordance to Sharia. So he mentioned to me, he says, no, don't talk about Johannesburg. He says over here also there was a similar incident. And he says that the lady was in hospital, and she was a Hindu woman also, and in her clothing she left a note that I have accepted Islam long ago, and I must be buried like a Muslim person. So here also the woman was a Hindu, she accepted Islam, and she was buried like a Muslim. When I reached home, many people, mashallah, over there in Johannesburg also, they listen to the talk. So one brother, he always, if I'm late to the talk also, he sends a message. He says this is family time, and in this family time we listen to the talk. So he's the Amir of the Burial Society in Azadville. So last night he messaged me as well, a very close friend of mine, and he tells me that there was a lady in Azadville, and he gave me her name. I think her name was Rehana. He said that this woman, she was a Hindu, she accepted Islam. So she lived like a Muslim also thereafter, but she had made it clear that she's a Muslim. So her son told her that when you pass away, we're going to cremate your body. We're not going to give you a Muslim burial. But when she passed away, Allah Ta'ala made it such. He said, we went and we fetched the body, and we gave her ghusl. And thereafter the son said that I want to come also to the ghusl khana. I want to see my mother before the ghusl is completed and before my mother is buried. So he said we allowed her. She came to the ghusl khana. He saw his mother, and thereafter we buried the mother. Once we were in Benoni, and when we were in Benoni, Mufti Boja Saheb and Maulana Jaya Saheb, that are there in Benoni. So they give ghusl classes also. So he mentioned to us, Mufti Boja Saheb mentioned, he said that once a person, I think he was also Hindu, he had passed away, but he had accepted Islam. So the family people, they came and they said, we want the body. So they said, no, we have to first give the ghusl, we have to perform the janaza salah, and then we will bury the person. So they said, we also want to come and see the ghusl, that how the ghusl is done. So they said, no problem, you can come, you're welcome to come and see how the ghusl is done. So they took them in and they showed them the ghusl. When they showed them the ghusl, they said, so much of honor you people give to the Muslims. A dead person also, so much of honor is given to a dead person. And when they left the ghusl khana, at that time they said, we will consider, we will think. In other words, we will think also about embracing Islam. When Allah Ta'ala has given so much of honor to a mu'min and a believer, so much of respect to a mu'min, that is why to make ghibat of another Muslim is haram. You are dishonoring that Muslim person. When Allah has given honor, who gave us the right to dishonor that Muslim person? Therefore, ghibat is totally haram. When a person engages in this, all his reward, it is totally destroyed. It is haram. It destroys all his good deeds. And many a time we start speaking good. Don't even speak good about anybody. Don't even talk about anyone. The moment we start talking good about a person, we say he's got this quality, he's got this quality, he's got this quality. And then what happens? We say, but this. The moment we say that, but this, finish. Everything is down the drain. All the good that we spoke about the man is down the drain. Once we were with our chef in Homestead Park. Homestead Park is about 35 kilometers out of Azadville. This is more close to Johannesburg Central. Johannesburg Central, Mayfair, that particular area. So on once a month, Hazrat goes there for a majlis on a Friday night. So we were there once for a majlis, and when we were returning from the majlis, we were coming back to Azadville. So it so happened that same week, or perhaps the same day, Nelson Mandela, he had died. So Abdul Rahman Amaji, Uncle Abdul Rahman Amaji, marhum, Allah Ta'ala grant him Jannatul Firdaus, he did a lot for the Darul Uloom also. So he was also with us in the car. So when he was in the car, he told Hazrat, he said that the man was a very, very good man. He said, but he has passed away, and he says, but only thing he has left on kufr. He did not recite kalima, and he passed away. So Hazrat kept quiet for a little while. Then he said, Abdul Rahman, we don't know. That is in the knowledge of Allah Ta'ala. There was a time when he went to Saudi Arabia. And when he was in Saudi Arabia, he stayed there. Nobody knows the agenda, why he went to Saudi Arabia, why he stayed in Saudi Arabia, and then he returns to South Africa. So we don't know whether he accepted Islam or he didn't accept Islam. So also one lady, she sent a message today, and she said that you spoke about this Hindu lady accepting Islam, that what verses of the Quran Sharif was recited, which surah was recited? So So I sent a message, I said surah, she wanted to know surah number, what surah number was recited. So I said surah number 94 of the Quran Sharif, surah Al-Nashra, surah Inshirah, this was recited. And this is what was blown into the water and on the sick person. So these wazaif also, this which we recite also, always remember this, that this has an effect on a person when two conditions are found. The first condition is a person himself must be paban on Sharia. He is performing his salah. We mentioned the 100,000 astaghfar. MashaAllah, many people are doing it. And people from other countries also, they messaged, they said, we also doing it over here. And many people in our countries also are doing it. But on condition, number one, we paban with our salah. We reading our 5 times namaz. If we want it to have an effect, we read our namaz. And the second condition is that a person, he stays away from the disobedience of Allah Ta'ala. When a person, he gets into the disobedience of Allah, then he can have the greatest wazifa also, but he breaks that protection, and that protection is not going to help him later on, because he has broken that protection. For an example, it is mentioned in the Quran Sharif, Allah Ta'ala says, لَهُ مُعَقِّبَاتٌ مِّن بَيْنِ يَدَيْهِ وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِ يَحْفَظُونَهُ مِنْ أَمْرِ اللَّهِ. That all of us, we have malaika that are in front of us, that are behind us. These malaikas are all protecting us by the command of Allah Ta'ala. That is why a person, he meets in an accident sometime, the car is a write-off, but you come out without a scratch. Or a child, he takes a jump from the building and he falls down, and hardly anything wrong with the child. That child is absolutely perfect. My nephew, many years ago, he was in Hafiz Badas Madrasa. So he was a small boy, and his parents were in Durban, so they were returning from Durban. So he ran across the road. When he ran across the road, a car knocked him and he flew over. He flew maybe about 100 meters away. But after flying 100 meters, he walked up and perfect. They took him to the hospital. They said there's absolutely nothing wrong with this child. And up to today, he is perfect. So these malaika are there to protect us by the command of Allah Ta'ala. But the moment a person, he takes a photo of something, and that photo is sitting on his phone, and it is sitting in his pocket, that protection of Allah Ta'ala is now destroyed. Now you won't have the protection of the malaika, because you brought those photos in the pocket. One person, he asked the question, he said that many people, they take the photos of deceased people, their family members, and they put the photos of deceased people on their Facebook and all these various social media platforms. So what is the status of this? Number one, that person, if he took the photograph himself, he got somebody to take it and he has passed away. That was a guna he was involved in. We mustn't advertise the guna of somebody else. The hadith of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam mentioned, Man satara awrata akhi, that person that conceals the fault of his brother, satara Allahu awratahu yawm al-qiyamah, Allah will conceal his faults on the day of Qiyamah. We are now opening up the faults of somebody else. And secondly, when we putting it up on that Facebook, we putting up on social media, now everybody else is now looking at it. So who became the means of them getting involved into guna? We became the means. So we getting the guna also, they also getting the guna. So this photography, these are things that totally destroy that protection that Allah Ta'ala had given us. We'll continue from here tomorrow, inshallah.